Welcome back to part 3 of the Wood Couture podcast. We are here with the other co-founder of ENVI Lodges, Chris Nader. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Filippo. It's a great honor.
Yeah, as you can see, he is definitely defined as the Brad Pitt of the hospitality industry. And but not only that, born into a hospitality family business, went straight and dive into the corporate world of hospitality and successful, came out as an entrepreneur, and here it is. But beside that, he also has a very big responsibility on his shoulder. Graduated with an MBA from the #1 hotel school in the world, Ecole Hoteliere de Lausanne. So we want to hear everything, and his past is far from glamorous, and we're gonna find out right now. Chris, tell us about your growing up adventure.
Just before I say that, I must say I've known you with long hair. I've known you with beards. Known you with short hair, but I've always admired your career and you're really someone in the industry that made a huge change. So for me, it's a really great honor to be on your podcast. So thank you.
But now we want to hear about you. Where is Chris from?
I was born in Lebanon, in Beirut, during dark times, and it was in the middle of a civil war, really in the middle of it. The day I was born, actually, there were bombs flying above the hospital, and my mom was delivering in a cast. She had broken her leg, so it was quite a challenge on that day, hearing bombs flying and exploding and delivering a baby, and you know, the first 8 years of my life were very difficult because it was constant war, hiding, not knowing if you're going to make it the next day, do you have electricity, water to survive, and really not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. When you live through such a episode, it's a very long one, you don't know anything else. You don't know that there is peace somewhere else. You don't know that kids can play outside. You don't know that there is certain things that have to happen. We're lucky we used to be able to go to school from time to time, but in the middle of a math class, we used to start hearing bombs flying and alarms ringing, and we had to rush back to basements and then wait for someone to pick us up to take us back home. In the middle of the night, we used to wake up and being brought down to a shelter because people were shooting really close to our home. So you live through it as if it's normal, but it's not, and it shouldn't be for anyone to see this, even kids. So when you grow through this period, you really don't know where your life is going to take you. You can't plan anything. You just hope that the next day will be better. And for 8-9 years, it wasn't, until suddenly things stopped. And we started building. And for my family at that time, it was very difficult. We used to live in one part of the city, whereas our hospitality business was in the other part of the city that was completely blocked. So we couldn't go see what was happening there on our own resort. Not having a business, not knowing what tomorrow is going to be was extremely difficult. And suddenly we got the chance to rebuild and try to make something out of it. And because I was born in this environment of family that is passionate about hospitality, my brother is in hospitality consultant. My cousin is a very senior hotelier and the biggest operator in the world and has a great position. My brother indirectly is involved, and my mother has always worked in F&B and hospitality. Some decided to follow a corporate career, but the other half was always about being entrepreneur and keeping that family business spirit alive. So they always worked either for their own company or for very small businesses where they have this control.
So how did you decide, to go and take on the world of education in the #1 hotel school in the world. You dive straight into the, Lausanne with an MBA, so not even going in at a bachelor degree, went into the elite. So already, the special forces of hospitality. How was your
team?
Yeah, how was it?
I before that I had the opportunity to work in various roles in F&B, starting as a waiter, then a bartender, then I became an F&B supervisor, an F&B manager, in different types of concepts: beach clubs, restaurants, bars, clubs, etc. And I developed a passion for this. I couldn't see myself sitting behind the desk from 8 to 6 and waiting for someone to tell me what to do, and I had to clock in and clock out, and that type of mentality back in the late 90s, mid 90s. So I was passionate by the service industry, by making people happy, by being the person that actually always contributes to the success of an event, being a party, being a celebration, being just a holiday by the beach. So I really wanted to work in this, and my family said, no, you're not going to work in hospitality. We have enough of those in the family. Hospitality industry doesn't pay much. Hospitality industry makes you work when everyone else is on holidays. And when you're on holiday, you're alone because everyone else is working. Why would you do that? Go find a job that is a bit more relaxed. And, I got lost after that kind of guidance from them, because I said, okay, they don't want me to do this. They were paying for my school and university. So what do I do? 3-4 years of being lost, until one day I got a call from my uncle who said, Chris, do you see what's happening in the tourism industry, the hospitality industry? It's just booming. We're talking early 2000s, mid 2000s. It's just booming, especially in the Middle East, where you're from, you speak the language. They need people like you. They're building thousands and thousands of hotels, and there is shortage of labor. There aren't enough people, especially in this region, from the region, who like hospitality. It was kind of a bastard industry at that time for them. No, be a doctor, be an engineer. Don't be a hotelier. And at the beginning I thought, oh, come on, you all told me not to do this, now you're telling me to do this, leave me alone. By the time it sank in, I called my brother, who was also a graduate of EHL, and he said, do it, apply, let's see what happens. I did my GMAT, got a very good score, applied to Cornell and EHL. I was said Ivy League and outside of the US, best hotel school in the world. Let me try both. The same week I got accepted to both.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, what a great choice to have. What an amazing decision that I'm allowed to take. People sometimes die to get accepted in one. The US was not very appealing to me, at least at that time. I'm naturally, from a cultural standpoint, from languages, from personality, I'm a big fan of Europe. I love those small villages in Europe. I like being, in the countryside in Europe. And so, and my brother said, look, Lausanne is an amazing school, just go and do it. And I chose EHL, and this is where I met my wife, actually. Great decision.
So hospitality not only made you successful, but also found your wife. So, hospitality is within you, is in your DNA. But I wanted to ask you, I mean, it's very touching, your story about, say my mother had a broken leg with a cast and she was taking care of that. Are there any advices or things she used to say or do to you guys to encourage you to go through the time that you still carrying it in day to day?
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's another episode that is also dark in my childhood, and Noelle and I probably share this as well. I lost my father when I was 13, so my mother is the one who really carried the family alone.
Yeah.
In a country that was recovering from war and where work opportunities were scarce, and it was very difficult. And Middle Eastern Arab woman tends to cocoon her kids a lot, And no, stay with me, stay with me. And what I admire the most about her is her strength in saying, actually leave. There is no future for you in this country because you deserve better. If you stay here, you're gonna get stuck in this environment and the opportunities will be extremely limited. It broke her heart to see us leave, but it was the best decision she did. Now, compared to most Lebanese, we were blessed with different passports. So leaving from a visa standpoint was possible. Financially difficult as well, but both my brother and I left. We were away from her for many years. She stayed alone. So I think having the courage to tell people, please move on, I think it's good for you, was something important in my value. And I actually, people maybe don't notice this or don't realize it, but in my career, I had with me my team, who I hired to work with me in different roles. And every time they came to me and said, Chris, I have this opportunity with this company. What do you think? I always tell them, take it, go, leave. And it wasn't about the pay. It was really about this company may give you faster career path and opportunities than staying in my current environment. Although it breaks my heart to see them leave. Now when I look back, all of them are so successful. They occupy amazing roles in the industry. And they were not waiting for my authorization to leave, but the fact that they came to me asking for advice and I got the courage to tell them, go, I feel very proud. They reached where they are because of them, because of their skill sets, because of they're smart people and they worked hard. But I relate to those values that have been given from my mother.
Yeah, it's it's amazing listening to you because it's about caring and never denying opportunities. Which is amazing. And beyond the family, who is the person or the figure in the outside world that you admire? Professionally, say, "Wow, I look up to this person that inspires me." Who inspires you?
It's a difficult question, and I've never really thought about it because I admire people for different things, but for me, I admire those who worked really hard, coming from very difficult backgrounds or circumstances like mine, and made it. If someone is given an opportunity on a golden plate, good for him, I'm very happy. But it doesn't generate an admiration. Someone who struggled in his childhood, in his life, and created his own opportunity and his own destiny and luck to become someone else, this is something that I really admire, and I love reading biographies and books about those people. But I can't really name one person. I think everyone should be admired, and everyone deserves a chance to become someone. But the nature of people pushes them to be a bit lazy. It pushes you to stay in your comfort zone. It pushes you to like your routine. And when you do that, it's very difficult to move up to the next stage. Or if you do, it's going to take a lot of time because some companies will look at some employees and say, oh, you've been in this role for 10 years, I have to promote you.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that this employee necessarily deserves a promotion.
Right.
So people who have the courage to stop and think, that's great, but I need more, I need something else. And not beg for someone to give them that something else, but for themselves to take matters in their own hands, say, I have the courage to take that step. And for me, taking a step from comfortable corporate job to becoming an entrepreneur and seeing your income and lifestyle and slashed completely and putting so much pressure on your family to say, guys, for the next period of X years or months, this is what's going to happen, because we're doing something for all of us. It has a lot of risk, but it also has reward if it works. And without the support of the family, and especially my wife, I could have never taken that risk, that step.
Obviously, it's I can see the determination, the passion that is in you, in everything you do, in everything you say, in the way you treat others. And are you a fearful person?
No, I'm not. I don't have fears. I was born in the fear of death and of surviving, and I think it was a school that shaped a lot of my personality into saying, I've gone through hell. Whatever happens now is a plus, and even if there is failure, it's not the end of the world. I know that I can rebound. I have the possibilities of rebounding. So when you do something, and it's mainly also because I'm Aries, I don't know, when you do something, you just go and do it. And which is a great thing about also how different I am from Noelle. Noelle loves to plan. I never planned anything, and when I start a business plan, when I start a project, a presentation, a PowerPoint, a thought, I do, and then the plan comes naturally as I do. Whereas Noelle, for instance, needs to plan a lot and then execute. So it's great complementing each other. But I think I took this as a lesson in life, where when I do something, no fear, just go in and do it. And if you work hard and you're serious about it, people will follow you and will support you.
And how did you cope with COVID? Any flashbacks? Although there was no bombs, there was no thing, but there was restrictions, confinement, and not able to move, not able to talk to people for the fear of catching. So how did you cope with that?
COVID was terrible for many people, and it has really many deaths and economic, economies crumbling, and it was really bad for many people. For me, it came almost as a blessing. It allowed me to pull the handbrake on my life, on my career, and take the time to think what's next for me. Many people around me, and without naming them in the industry, spent their lockdowns in 2020 watching Netflix all day because they had a job and they couldn't travel, and hey, what to do? Just wait. Some of us said, no, let's take this opportunity to change, to transform ourselves. What is it that I really want to do? I used to have a corporate life that used to take me about 220 days on trip, traveling in different countries. And when you're into that spiral of travel nonstop, taking the plane is like taking a bus or taking a cab. It wasn't, going to all those luxury hotels was normal, and you start becoming very anal about, oh, why did this happen? And because you're into that crazy world of business travel, when you are in this life, you can't think, you can't stop. It's just a machine that is going. And COVID allowed me to stop. And I'm grateful for that period, because it made me realize what I really wanted to do, and the possibility that can open for me. I got, throughout my career, many opportunities to work for big groups. I was never attracted to big corporate structures. My passion is in always the different, the small, the unique, something that adds value, something that makes a difference in the world. And this is how I made my choices.
Obviously, you've been very successful in your corporate life, as you say, and I like the fact that you're saying, hey, I don't plan, I just take it on, tackle it and move on. And obviously you are a father. Are you trying to plan your daughter's life?
Well, my daughter is 4, and I don't want to think about it at the moment. I'm really enjoying every moment with her, and COVID allowed many fathers to become very close to their kids, because including yourself, I assume, we used to travel so much that you would stay away from your family. Being in lockdown, being confined in a country at home, working from home, allows you to develop an amazing relationship with your daughter or with your kid, and I'm very blessed to have had the chance to do that, and I still do. So I don't like to plan what's coming for her. I live also by the day. I try to maximize whatever comes in a given day. I always plan for the next day, but I don't necessarily plan for the long term. I like the adventure side of my personality. I like the fact that unexpected things can happen and I need to adjust and adapt, which I guess makes it a good recipe to start your own company, because in startups, no matter how many months we spent with Noelle planning a business plan and planning for the future, we all know that many things don't happen according to the plan, and you have to be able to adapt. So not so much into planning.
How has your wife supported you? Or actually, do you share your business plans with your wife?
Yes, I take her approval on most things, and the fact that she's fully supporting me and she loves the idea and she gives really valuable input. She comes from a hospitality background and hospitality family. Her family owns a hotel in France. So she understands the business very well. She now works in the luxury industry, so it's also a great combination. And getting her validation and opinion on various things is important, but that's between me and her. Of course, I don't bring her in front of my colleagues or she's my wife. That happens at home, and then it's up to me to take that input and then convey it to someone else.
Yeah, obviously we are both men, and it's you just said something amazing. You care about others. How does the current gender equality in the hospitality industry make you feel?
I was very proud when we created ENVI that we constituted a team that naturally was about gender equality in terms of the balance between men and women, between the responsibility that we're given, between the importance that each person has in the company. And then when we created our advisory board, it also naturally happened that Noelle and I chose 2 ladies and 2 men. And when you put them on a slide and you say, this is my team, you're like, oh, there's balance in gender. It just came naturally to us, and it's something that is very important to us. But then when it comes to inequalities, I don't believe people should be equal because it's an ESG thing to do, or it looks good on LinkedIn, or a tick a box. And if a man or a woman doesn't deserve the same, doesn't have the same skill sets and experience and inputs into a certain role or company, I don't need to push one or the others so that they're equal, so it looks good for the company. Both Noelle and I are not very much into pushing these messages as because we're forced by the industry or by the media to do that. It comes to us naturally, and we like to support all genders, all cultures, all backgrounds equally, as long as they contribute to the success of the company and they add value to the team.
But on a let's say social topic, listening to you, it's a great woman one day, which is your mother. She said to you, "Go." It's the biggest decision of her life in that circumstances, and us men, is not necessarily me and you, but the male world cannot recognize the important decision the great women like your mother have to make in life. And so the question I have for you is a burning question, that I try to answer myself, but I can't answer it. Is it a women problem, or actually is it more a men problem, this gender equality situation?
Well, both you and I come from very man-dominated macho environments, being Italy or the Arab world, and obviously historically men always feared that women make it to the top. I think there was this very conservative classic conceptions about success.
The breadwinner, yeah.
The breadwinner, it has to be the man, I have to be on top. And I think this has changed, whether it's in politics, whether it's in business, whether it's amazing what we're seeing happening today. And some of the most successful CEOs or ex-CEOs even, like Pepsi and other big companies,
absolutely,
and all women. But again, they made it because they are skilled to actually become a CEO, and not because they were a number 2 woman. I said, oh, it looks good, let's put her number 1 because, for our image. So they all deserve to be where they are, and I think men have started changing. Most boards are male dominated, and boards make these decisions. Who do we push up? And I think boards have started to change completely their mentalities. And I'm seeing this a lot. My brother works in a very high-end placement firm for C-suite and board members, and he's seeing also the shifts in actually pushing women to very senior roles, whether it's in advisory, executive boards, or C-suite.
Right. What's your favorite holiday destination?
I'm a bit biased. It's the south of France. This is where my wife is from. This is where we have our place. This is where we go every summer.
Right.
And after spending a long period here in this climate, going to the south of France, to the Provence area, and going up in the countryside and looking at trees, and we miss the color green when we're in Dubai. And the people, the food, the culture, you can really have meaningful discussions with the guy selling you bread. You can learn a lot when you talk to people because they come from this place. They're authentically from there. They haven't been imported into a country, and they're just doing their job in the way they were trained. So it's a different relationship you have with people, and I find great joy going there every summer.
But you fell in love with your lodges concept in Switzerland, in the Swiss Alps.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
I spent about 7 years in Switzerland. 1 year was during my MBA in Lausanne, and then 6 years in Geneva. And obviously, you better like the mountains, because this is all you have around you. Lakes and mountains. There is no beach. So being myself an adventurer, I love skiing, snowboarding, and being out in the cold and in mountains. Lived 3-4 years in Canada as well, where I did an amazing kayak expedition with whales,
Wow.
which really changed my life about nature and animals. It was really amazing. But in Switzerland, in the Swiss Alps, I got the chance to sleep in one of those lodges that have domes. In the winter, they have their private ski slope.
Yeah.
They take you up with a ski-doo to your room. At night, you have to wake up to put wood back in the fire so you remain warm. And then in the morning, you're going to go down to breakfast. You take your sledge and you sledge down to breakfast. It's just an amazing experience that is done very simply. But someone has to have the courage to say, I'm going to put my money in that type of development. And it just was, for me, one of the most memorable trips or experiences that I had. But it took me about another 8 years to realize that actually this is what I want to do. This is what the world needs. We need to see more of those, and not only in the Swiss Alps, but in the deserts of Saudi and in the beaches of Oman, and I think because the industry kind of shapes you to think one way, build more keys, more rooms, bigger bonus, 500 rooms, 1,000 rooms. You sign 4,000 in Mecca, you retire. And it takes a lot of efforts and courage and external factors to make you realize that, yes, this is working and this is great for some people. But actually, let's go back to that experience 8 years ago. Why can't we do this and develop it in this part of the world? And it was really, during this COVID period, was really an eye-opener for me.
Wow, it's incredible. How long ago was that? Which year was that you went to this place?
2010, I would say.
So 11 years later, have changed your life. So is that what you're trying to achieve with ENVI Lodges? The changing people's life forever?
I'm trying to change the definition of experiences in the hospitality industry. And the last few years, lifestyle was the buzzword. And if you had a cool neon light in your room, you became lifestyle brand. If you served coffee with a smiley face on it, it was lifestyle. So everyone was started using the word lifestyle to their liking and surfing that wave again. And then after that, it became about experiences. So what is experiences? And they all market themselves, especially in urban locations, are, come, we're going to provide you an amazing experience. You're going to be able to drink a glass of wine from the rooftop while watching the sunset. It's a nice experience. It's a good, nice, pleasant moment. But it's not an experience that transforms you. It's not something that you will remember for the rest of your life. And I think my experience in Switzerland was something that I will remember for the rest of my life, because it was about seeing where my food was coming from the local farmers. It was seeing about how the lodge was operating in a sustainable manner. It was about providing unexpected experiences and activities that actually stuck in my head. And I thought, look, with ENVI, we need to do more of those, because we need to really bring the true meaning of experience to this region. It's being done elsewhere amazingly well. We need to do the same here.
It's wow. It's you know, you almost leave people that are asking you questions speechless, or no more questions, because it just I'm here, I'm burning. As you can see, I cannot stand still or cannot sit down, because I want to go and try one ENVI Lodge. Please, gosh, stop building one, please. It really is incredible. If one day your daughter comes to you and says, "Dad, time allowing, no, she's a kid, she's only 4 years old, 20 years down the line, I want to take over ENVI Lodges," would you give the same opportunity your mother gave to you?
100%. 100%. And I think she probably and hopefully will have an easier start than me, because she's coming up in a very safe and amazing environment, and we're blessed in this country to have security and opportunities. And if I'm able to provide those opportunities that she takes over one day, whether it's ENVI or similar, I would be very proud. But I'm very worried about her. I'm afraid, actually, not worried. I'm afraid that this generation is going to take sustainability and responsible travel to a completely different level. And I think as she starts growing up, she's going to have a very critical eye on what we do. And I hope we can live up to their expectations.
Why make, when you look at this generation, they go, all kind of phones, all kind of gadgets, what makes you think that these guys actually want to go to the next level? They were talking about virtual experiences, which is nonsense, to me. But, how strong do you feel that the next generation is your future customer?
Well, we're seeing this a lot now with the Gen Zs and in their early 20s, where they love to be connected and do the virtual stuff and be completely technology oriented. But that's one hat they wear, and then in the afternoon they can wear a different hat, which will be the completely let's save the planet type of hat, and we don't accept this and that, and we have to change. And there's a very strong movement in that. And I think the power of social media is taking proportions that are completely different from what we were exposed to as social media was being created in the mid-2000s, that the movement will continue to be driven by exposure and awareness on social media, and this feeling of community, of movement, of belonging to a generation that wants to prove the Gen X, even millennials to a certain extent, that you guys destroyed our future, we were gonna fix it.
Yeah, it's a few years ago, I know, always on this subject, a lot of people were talking about having robotic check-ins, having robots into the lobby. So we were almost imagining a Star Wars hotel, you know what I mean? While you come and say, hold on a second, ENVI Lodges is about totally different things, which is, do you feel like a disruptor, or?
No, we feel like there are different horses for different courses, and I think in some environments you would love to see this AI being used, and those robots and room service being brought by a robot. It looks cool. You take a photo with the robot, and I think this will continue and evolve, and it's great for the industry because it needs some innovation. But in other instances, people, when they are in nature and want to connect with local communities and animals, etc., the last thing they want to do is being guided by robots. They want to have that personal connection. So in some environment, they like the technology. In others, they need to go back to basics. And we have always those very interesting debates internally where some of us are trying to push technology in the lodges, while others are saying, wait, you can't put it everywhere, because at the end of the day, people want to touch a paper. Yes, QR codes for menus is exciting, but when you're in the middle of nowhere in the desert and you're receiving a special menu that has been customized, you don't want to take your phone and look at it. You want to hold this nice menu, and so I think going back to basics is important to us in that sense, and not being too driven by technological innovation all the time.
Wow. It's incredible. It's after having experienced Noelle before, both of you together, and now you, is I'm start getting into the spirit of ENVI Lodges. Really, I can still stand still. I mean, I want to go. And again, to you, I'm going to put a massive white canvas on top of Burj Khalifa. What message would you write on that?
Have the courage to follow your dreams or do what you want to do. As I said earlier, it's very easy to fall asleep at the wheel and be stuck in your routine because it's comfortable, it provides safety, it provides shelter to your family and money coming in the bank account at the end of the month. But many people have dreams, and there's no reason why only a few are making a change in this world. These few are there because obviously they're super smart, but also they had the courage to actually do something different, take matters into their own hand and create. And 9 out of 10 startups fail for many reasons. But if you don't try, you're never gonna know how far you can go and how you can make a change. So for me, it's always trying to encourage people to leave, to make that change, to dare, and if they fail, they will always be picked up by someone, because we need talent in the industry and in different industries, and the fact that you went through this experience, which is extremely difficult. Sometimes I wake up at night, I'm like, why am I doing this? And then I fall asleep. So it's extremely stressful and difficult, but it's so rewarding to be able to be in that position. So yeah, I'll encourage many people to do that.
Well, your life has been full of experiences, from bombs to corporate success and ski Alps, southern France. It's been, and even today, it's been an experience. And I'm very pleased I'm your friend, but above all, I think what the people out there have realized by now, that you're a great human being. Chris, thank you very much for being on the show.
you.